I stood in my living room, staring at the wedding dress hanging from my bookshelf. 3 months of searching, and I'd finally found it. Ivory silk with delicate lace that would catch the light when I walked down the aisle. I ran my fingers over the fabric, imagining Cade's face when he saw me in it. My phone buzzed on the coffee table. Probably Regina with another question about the bachelorette party she was planning. My best friend had been texting nonstop all week, obsessing over every detail like it was her own wedding. I smiled, picking up my phone. Regina and I had been inseparable since college. The kind of friendship where you finish each other's sentences and know exactly what the other person needs before they ask. She'd cried harder than my mom when Cade proposed. The notification wasn't a text. It was an email from an address I didn't recognize. Truth, you need to know ugmail.com. The subject line read, "Before you marry him." My thumb hovered over the delete button. Spam, obviously, but something made me open it. No message, just attachments. 3 photos. The first showed Cade entering a hotel, his arm around a woman whose face I couldn't see. The timestamp read yesterday, when he was supposedly at a work conference in Chicago. My heart stuttered. I opened the second photo. The woman turned toward the camera now, laughing up at Cade. Regina. My Regina, with her hand on my fiancé's chest, looking at him the way she'd looked at no one since her divorce 3 years ago. The room tilted. I sat down hard on the couch, my legs suddenly useless. The third photo was the worst. Cade and Regina kissing in the elevator, his hands in her hair, her body pressed against his. The digital timestamp showed 11:42 p.m. I couldn't breathe. I kept staring at the image, looking for signs it was fake. But I recognized Cade's watch, the one I'd given him for his birthday, and Regina's dress, the green one she'd bought when we went shopping last month. She'd said it was for a work event. My phone buzzed again. A text from Regina. "How's the dress fitting? Can't wait to see pics. Love you." I threw my phone across the room. It hit the wall and clattered to the floor, screen cracked but still lit with her message. "Love you." I ran to the bathroom and vomited until there was nothing left but bile. When I looked in the mirror, I didn't recognize myself. My face was blotchy, mascara streaking down my cheeks. I looked like someone else, someone broken. My phone rang from where it lay on the floor. Cade's ringtone. I walked over and picked it up, staring at his name on the screen. "Hey, beautiful," he said when I answered. His voice was so normal, so Cade, that for a second I thought maybe the photos were some cruel joke. "How's my bride-to-be?" "Where are you?" My voice sounded strange, like it belonged to someone else. "Still at the conference, last session just ended. Miss me?" The lie slid so easily from his lips. Had he always been this good at lying? How many times had I believed him without question? "Layla, you there? I got some interesting photos today," I said, surprised by how calm I sounded. Silence. Then, "What photos?" "You and Regina at the Palmer Hotel, yesterday." More silence. I could hear him breathing. "Layla, I can explain." "Don't." The word came out sharp enough to cut. "Is she with you now?" "No, Don't lie to me. Not anymore." I heard movement, a door closing. Then his voice dropped to a whisper. It was a mistake. It didn't mean anything. A laugh bubbled up from somewhere deep inside me, bitter and unrecognizable. "Which time? Yesterday? Last week? How long, Cade?" He didn't answer, which was answer enough. "Is she there?" I asked again. "Yes," he finally admitted. "But Layla, please." I ended the call and blocked his number. My phone immediately lit up with a text from Regina. "Cade just told me. We need to talk. It's not what you think." I blocked her too. Then I sank to the floor, my back against the wall, and stared at my wedding dress. All those fittings, all those plans. The venue we'd spent months finding, the honeymoon we'd saved for, the life we'd mapped out together. All of it built on lies. I don't know how long I sat there, but when I finally stood, my legs were numb and the room was dark. I walked to the dress and touched it one last time. Then I grabbed my scissors from the desk drawer. The first cut was the hardest. After that, it became easier. Satisfying, even. I sliced through silk and lace until the dress was nothing but expensive confetti on my floor. When I was done, I swept the pieces into a garbage bag, tied it shut, and placed it by the door. My phone had been silent since I'd blocked them both, but now it buzzed with an incoming call from a number I hadn't seen in months. Amber, my sister. I almost didn't answer. Amber and I hadn't spoken since Christmas, when I'd chosen to spend the holiday with Cade's family instead of hers. But right now, she was the only person in my life who had no connection to Cade or Regina. "Hey," I said, my voice hoarse. "Layla?" She sounded surprised I'd picked up. "Are you okay? You sound weird." I opened my mouth to say I was fine, my automatic response to that question for as long as I could remember. But what came out instead was the truth. "No," I said. "I'm not okay at all." I sat on a park bench, watching a couple argue near the fountain. The woman gesticulated wildly while the man stared at his shoes. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I didn't need to. Their body language told the whole story. 3 days had passed since I'd discovered Cade and Regina's betrayal. 3 days of ignoring their calls from new numbers, deleting their emails without reading them, and pretending I didn't hear the knocking when they came to my apartment. "You look like you haven't slept in days," Amber said, handing me a coffee. My sister had insisted on meeting after our call, driving 2 hours to see me. Her concern made me feel both grateful and pathetic. "Thanks," I muttered, taking the cup. "That's exactly what every woman wants to hear." Amber sat beside me, her shoulder touching mine. "Want to talk about it?" "Not really." I took a sip of coffee, burning my tongue. The pain felt good, something real to focus on. "Okay." She didn't push, and I appreciated that. We sat in silence, watching the arguing couple make up with a tearful hug. "I canceled everything," I said finally. "Venue, caterer, flowers. Most of them kept the deposits, but I don't care." "What about the ring?" I twisted the diamond on my finger. I'd forgotten it was still there. "I should probably return it. Or pawn it and buy yourself something nice." That made me smile, just a little. "Pretty sure that's illegal." "Only if you get caught." Amber bumped my shoulder with hers. "Seriously though, what's your plan?" "I don't have one." I pulled the ring off and dropped it into my coffee. It sank to the bottom with a satisfying plunk. "I just know I can't be here right now. Everywhere I go, I see them." "Come stay with me," Amber offered immediately. "I have that spare room. You can hide out as long as you need." I considered it. Amber lived in a small town where no one knew me. No one would ask about the wedding or why I looked like I'd been hit by a truck. But the thought of running away made something harden inside me. "I can't," I said. "If I leave, it's like they win. This isn't a competition, Layla. Isn't it?" I watched a group of pigeons fight over a discarded sandwich. They took everything from me. My future, my trust. If I run away, what does that make me? "Human," Amber said softly. "It makes you human." I was about to respond when I spotted them. Regina and Cade, walking on the path about 50 yards away. They hadn't seen us yet. Regina was talking animatedly, her hands moving as she spoke. Cade nodded, his arm around her waist. "Layla?" Amber followed my gaze. Oh shit, I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. They looked so normal together, like any other couple enjoying the park. Had they always been this comfortable with each other, even when I was around? How had I not seen it? "Let's go." Amber tugged at my arm, but I shook her off. "Wait." I ducked behind a tree, pulling Amber with me. "I want to hear what they're saying." This is a bad idea, but I was already moving, keeping to the trees, getting close enough to hear their conversation. Amber followed reluctantly. "Told you we should have waited," Regina was saying. "Now everything's a mess." What was I supposed to do? Cade sounded defensive. Once she got those photos, the wedding was off anyway. You could have been more careful about breaking it to her. Now she won't even talk to us. She'll come around. She always does. The casual confidence in his voice made me want to scream. Had I been that predictable? That easy to manipulate? I don't know. Regina sighed. You didn't see her face when she tried on that dress. She was so happy, Cade. And she'll be happy again. Just not with me. He stopped walking, turning to face her. Look, we did a shitty thing. I'm not denying that. But we can't change it now. I know. Regina's voice dropped so low I had to strain to hear. I just keep thinking about the baby. How are we going to tell her about that? The world tilted sideways. Baby? What baby? We don't have to tell her anything, Cade said. It's not her business anymore. Regina put her hand on her stomach, a gesture so instinctive it had to be real. It feels wrong, keeping it from her. She was my best friend. Was being the operative word. Trust me, the less she knows, the better. I must have made a sound because they both turned toward the trees where Amber and I were hiding. We ducked down, but it was too late. Regina had spotted us. Layla, she called, her voice uncertain. I grabbed Amber's hand and ran, ignoring Regina calling my name behind us. We didn't stop until we reached Amber's car, both of us breathing hard. Did you hear that? I gasped, bent over with my hands on my knees. She's pregnant. She's fucking pregnant with his baby. Amber unlocked the car. Get in. We need to get out of here. I slid into the passenger seat, my mind racing. Regina was pregnant. With Cade's child. A child that could have been mine if things had been different. I think I'm going to be sick, I said, rolling down the window. Just breathe, Amber advised, starting the car. Deep breaths, but I couldn't breathe. All I could think about was Regina's hand on her stomach, Cade's arm around her waist. How long had they been together behind my back? How many times had I talked to Regina about wanting children with Cade, not knowing she was already carrying his baby? As we pulled away from the park, something shifted inside me. The numbness that had enveloped me for days cracked open, revealing something hot and dangerous underneath. I need to talk to Brendan, I said suddenly. Who's Brendan? Cade's college roommate. They're still friends. I pulled out my phone. He might know how long this has been going on. Layla, what are you doing? I looked at my sister, really looked at her for the first time in days. I'm not running away, Amber. I'm not hiding. They don't get to do this to me and just walk away happy. What exactly are you planning? I didn't answer. I was too busy scrolling through my contacts, looking for Brendan's number. The gym was nearly empty at 5 a.m. Just me and the weights and the anger burning through my veins. I added another 10 pounds to the bar and positioned myself under it, ignoring the protest in my shoulders. You're going to hurt yourself, a voice said from behind me. I turned to see Marin, my coworker, watching me with concern. Her presence at this hour wasn't surprising. We'd started this early morning routine together months ago. But I hadn't expected her today. I hadn't expected anyone. I'm fine, I grunted, pushing the bar up. My arms trembled with the effort. Marin stepped forward to spot me. You don't look fine. You look like you're trying to punish your body for something your heart is feeling. I let the bar drop back onto the rack with a clang. Since when are you a therapist? Since my best friend started ghosting everyone and showing up at the gym looking like she's planning a murder. She handed me a towel. What's going on, Layla? Everyone's worried. Everyone except Cade and Regina, I muttered, wiping sweat from my face. Understanding dawned in her eyes. Oh shit, you found out. I froze. You knew? Marin looked away, guilt written across her face. I suspected. Regina's been acting weird for months. And then last week at happy hour, I saw how they looked at each other when they thought no one was watching. And you didn't think to tell me? The betrayal felt fresh all over again. I'm planning a wedding with the man, and you just let me walk around clueless? I wasn't sure, she said defensively. And it wasn't my place. I thought if there was something going on, Cade should be the one to tell you. Well, he didn't. I had to find out from anonymous photos someone emailed me. I grabbed my water bottle, suddenly needing to be anywhere but here. And now she's pregnant. Marin's eyes widened. What? Are you sure? I heard them talking about it. I shouldered my gym bag. So yeah, I'm planning something. But it's not murder. It's justice. Layla, wait. She caught my arm. Whatever you're thinking about doing, don't. Just walk away. Start fresh. I yanked my arm free. That's what everyone keeps saying. Walk away. Be the bigger person. Well, I'm tired of being the bigger person. I want them to hurt like I'm hurting. And then what? Marin challenged. You think revenge will make you feel better? It won't. It'll just keep you tied to them. Thanks for the advice, I said coldly, but I've already made up my mind. I left her standing there, her concern following me out the door like an unwanted shadow. Brendan's apartment was exactly what I expected from Cade's college roommate. Minimalist furniture, gaming setup in the corner, protein powder on the kitchen counter. What I hadn't expected was how easily he'd agreed to meet me. I've been waiting for this day, he said, handing me a beer I hadn't asked for. The day you finally realized what an asshole Cade is. I set the beer down untouched. If you knew he was an asshole, why didn't you warn me? Would you have believed me? He raised an eyebrow. You were so in love you couldn't see straight. Besides, Cade and I have history. You would have thought I was just being bitter. He wasn't wrong. I would have dismissed any criticism of Cade as jealousy or misunderstanding. Love had made me stupid. So what changed? I asked. Why help me now? Brendan leaned forward, elbows on his knees. Because what he's doing to you is exactly what he did to Melissa in college. And Tara after that. And probably others I don't even know about. Who's Melissa? His girlfriend before you. They were together 3 years. He cheated on her with her cousin, got the cousin pregnant, then ghosted them both. He took a swig of his beer. Sound familiar? My stomach twisted. Why are you still friends with him if he's such a monster? We're not friends. We're connected. Big difference. He shrugged. I keep tabs on him because someone should, and because I always hoped one day I could help one of his victims get even. I'm not a victim, I snapped. No? His gaze was uncomfortably direct. What would you call it then? I didn't have an answer for that. Instead, I pulled out my phone and showed him the photos I'd received. Do you know who sent these? He barely glanced at them. No, but I can guess. Regina's not Cade's only side piece. There's a woman named Sabrina he's been seeing off and on. She works at his gym. The floor seemed to drop out from under me. There's another woman? Probably several. Cade doesn't do exclusive, even when he's engaged. Brendan's tone was matter-of-fact, like he was discussing the weather instead of the complete devastation of my life. Sabrina found out about Regina a few weeks ago. She was pissed. I tried to process this new information. Not only had Cade been cheating with my best friend, but he'd been cheating on both of us with someone else. The humiliation burned worse than any physical pain. I need to find this Sabrina, I said, more to myself than to Brendan. Already ahead of you. He slid a piece of paper across the coffee table. Her number, address, work schedule. Everything you need. I stared at him. Why are you helping me like this? Something dark flashed across his face. Let's just say Cade has hurt people I care about too. And Regina's no innocent bystander. She knew exactly what she was doing. I folded the paper carefully and put it in my pocket. What do you think I should do with this information? That's up to you. He finished his beer. But if you're looking for maximum impact, wait for the baby shower. Baby shower. Regina's already planning it. 12 weeks along and already sending out save the dates to her inner circle. He smiled without humor. Cade's playing the proud father-to-be. It's quite the performance. The image of them celebrating their betrayal, surrounded by friends and gifts, made me physically ill. But beneath the nausea was something else. A cold, clear purpose. When is it? I asked. 6 weeks from now. Plenty of time to plan something they'll never forget. I stood up, suddenly certain of what I needed to do. Thank you, Brendan. This helps more than you know. He walked me to the door. Just remember something, Layla. Whatever you're planning, make sure it's worth it. Revenge comes with its own price. I thought about Cade's easy lies, Regina's hand on her stomach, the future they'd stolen from me. Some prices, I said quietly, are worth paying. Amber's apartment door swung open before I could knock a second time. Her expression shifted from irritation to surprise when she saw me standing there, overnight bag in hand. Layla, what are you doing here? You said I could stay if I needed to. I shifted uncomfortably. I need to. She stepped aside to let me in. Her apartment was smaller than mine, cluttered with art supplies and half-finished projects. The familiarity of it, the smell of oil paints and coffee, made my throat tighten. What happened? She asked, taking my bag. I thought you were determined to stay in the city. I was. I am. I sank onto her couch. But I ran into Regina at the grocery store yesterday. She tried to talk to me and I just froze. Couldn't speak, couldn't move. Just stood there like an idiot while she apologized for how things happened. What did you say? Nothing. I left my cart in the middle of the aisle and walked out. I pulled my knees to my chest. I realized I need some distance to think clearly, just for a few days. Amber nodded, disappearing into the kitchen. She returned with 2 glasses of wine, handing one to me. So, thinking clearly, she said, sitting beside me. Is that code for plotting revenge? Because your texts have been concerning. I took a long sip of wine. I'm not plotting anything. I'm gathering information. From Cade's friends? From this Sabrina person? She raised an eyebrow. That sounds like plotting to me. It's not like that. But even to my own ears, the defense sounded weak. I just want to understand what happened, how long it was going on, if everyone knew but me. And then what? What's the endgame here, Layla? I stared into my wine glass, watching the red liquid catch the light. What was my endgame? When I'd left Brendan's apartment, I'd felt so certain, so focused. But now, faced with my sister's direct question, I hesitated. I don't know, I admitted finally. I just know I can't let them get away with it. They're having a baby shower, Amber. They're celebrating while I'm picking up the pieces. And you think making them suffer will help you move on? She shook her head. That's not how healing works. Then how does it work? I demanded. Because I've tried everything else. I've blocked their numbers, avoided our usual places, thrown myself into work. But I still wake up every morning with this rage inside me. It's eating me alive. Amber was quiet for a long moment. Do you remember when Dad left? The abrupt change of subject caught me off guard. What does that have to do with anything? You were 12, I was 16. Mom was a mess, drinking too much, crying all the time. She traced the rim of her glass. I was so angry at him. I used to fantasize about ruining his new life with that woman. I even went to their house once, stood outside with a rock in my hand, ready to break their windows. I didn't know that. Because I didn't do it. She met my eyes. I realized it wouldn't change anything. He'd still be gone. Mom would still be heartbroken. And I'd just be the crazy daughter who couldn't let go. This is different, I insisted. Cade and Regina betrayed me. They lied to my face for months, maybe years. I know, and that's awful. She reached for my hand. But revenge won't undo it. It'll just keep you stuck in this moment, reliving the hurt over and over. I pulled my hand away. You don't understand. I understand better than you think. Something in her voice made me look up. Regina called me yesterday. The wine turned sour in my mouth. What? She wanted to know if you were okay. She said she's been trying to reach you. To explain. Explain what? How she fucked my fiancé? How she's carrying his child? The rage I'd been trying to contain bubbled up. What could she possibly say that would make any of this okay? She said it wasn't what I thought. Amber hesitated. She said there were things you didn't know, things Kate had kept from both of you. And you believed her? I don't know what to believe, but I think you should talk to her, hear her side before you do something you can't take back. I stood up, suddenly needing to move. I can't believe you're defending her. I'm not defending anyone. I'm worried about you. She followed me to the window. This isn't like you, Layla. Plotting revenge, obsessing over their baby shower. You're better than this. Maybe I don't want to be better, I said quietly. Maybe I'm tired of being the one who always takes the high road. Amber's reflection in the window looked pained. What exactly are you planning? I turned to face her. Regina's having her baby shower at the Gardenia in 6 weeks. It's invitation only, very exclusive. I need to be there. Why? To make a scene? To humiliate her? To show everyone who she really is. I pulled out my phone, showing her the information Brendan had given me. She's been lying to everyone, not just me. And Cade's been lying to her too. They deserve to have those lies exposed. Amber read through the notes, her expression growing more troubled. Layla, this is a lot. Have you verified any of this? Not yet, but I will. I took the phone back. That's why I need to stay here. I need space from them to put the pieces together. She was quiet for a long moment, studying my face. You know I'll always have your back, but I'm scared this path you're on will hurt you more than it hurts them. I'm already hurt, I said simply. Nothing could make it worse. The look she gave me was so full of sadness it made me want to cry. That's what I'm afraid of, that you believe that. My phone buzzed with a text. Unknown number, but I knew immediately who it was from. Got your number from Brendan. We should talk. I know things about Cade and Regina that will make your revenge so much sweeter. Meet me tomorrow? Sabrina. I looked up at Amber, decision made. I need to borrow your car tomorrow. Where are you going? To meet someone who understands what I'm going through. I put my phone away. Someone who won't tell me to take the high road. Sabrina wasn't what I expected. I'd imagined someone like Regina. Polished, perfect, the kind of woman men leave their fiancés for. Instead, the woman who slid into the booth across from me had purple hair, tattoos crawling up her arms, and eyes that had seen too much. You must be Layla, she said, flagging down a waitress. You look exactly like your Instagram photos. I shifted uncomfortably. How long have you been stalking my social media? Since I found out about you. She ordered a black coffee, then studied me openly. 6 months ago, right after I found out about Regina. 6 months. The timeline hit me like a physical blow. 6 months ago, Cade and I were planning our wedding. 6 months ago, I still believed in forever. So you've known about both of us all this time? I asked when the waitress left. Knew about you. Suspected Regina. Sabrina shrugged. Cade's not exactly subtle when he's juggling women. The constant texting, the mysterious work emergencies, the way he keeps his phone face down. All behaviors I'd noticed but dismissed. Trust makes you blind. Or stupid. Maybe both. Why did you stay with him once you knew? Why does anyone stay in a bad situation? I thought I could change him. She laughed without humor. Plus, the sex was incredible. I'm not going to apologize for that. I flinched. The thought of Cade with other women still felt like a knife twisting in my gut. Look, Sabrina continued. I didn't ask you here to compare notes on Cade's bedroom skills. I asked you here because I have information you can use. What kind of information? She pulled out her phone and showed me a series of text messages between her and Cade. Recent ones, dated after I'd discovered his betrayal. He's freaking out, she explained. Regina's pregnancy wasn't part of his plan. He thought he could keep stringing both of you along indefinitely. I scanned the messages, my heart pounding. Cade complaining about Regina's mood swings. Cade wondering if the baby was really his. Cade suggesting Sabrina meet him at a hotel while Regina was at a doctor's appointment. He's still seeing you? I looked up, incredulous. Occasionally, when he can get away from her. Sabrina took her phone back. Regina thinks she's won, that she's the one he chose. She has no idea he's already looking for his next escape route. The revelation should have brought satisfaction. Proof that Regina wasn't special either, just another woman Cade was using. Instead, I felt a strange, unexpected pang of sympathy for her. She was pregnant with the child of a man who would never be faithful. Does she know about you? I asked. No, and that's where my plan comes in. Sabrina leaned forward, eyes gleaming. The baby shower. It's the perfect opportunity to expose everything. I have texts, photos, hotel receipts. Enough evidence to destroy both of them in front of everyone they care about. The eagerness in her voice made me uneasy. This wasn't about justice for her. It was about inflicting maximum pain. I don't know, I said slowly. That seems, what, too harsh? She scoffed. After what they did to you? They deserve worse. Maybe they did. But sitting across from Sabrina, seeing the raw hatred in her eyes, I glimpsed a possible future version of myself. Bitter, vengeful, defined by someone else's betrayal. The thought terrified me. I need to think about this, I said, standing up. It's a lot to process. Don't take too long. Sabrina's voice hardened. The shower's in 5 weeks, and if you're not interested in my plan, I'll do it myself. I left the cafe feeling shaken, my certainty crumbling. The revenge I'd been plotting suddenly seemed hollow, a path leading nowhere good. I found Quentin in the community garden behind Amber's apartment building, kneeling in the dirt, coaxing stubborn weeds from between tomato plants. I'd met him briefly when I arrived. Amber's new neighbor, the elementary school teacher with kind eyes who'd offered to show me around town. Need some help? I asked, approaching cautiously. He looked up, surprised. Layla, hey. Sure, if you don't mind getting dirty. I knelt beside him, grateful for the simple task. We worked in companionable silence for a while, the repetitive motion of pulling weeds strangely soothing. Rough day? He asked eventually. How can you tell? You're attacking those weeds like they personally offended you. His smile was gentle, without pity. Plus, Amber mentioned you're going through something. Did she tell you what? Just that someone hurt you badly. He sat back on his heels. I don't need details. Sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger anyway. The kindness in his voice nearly undid me. I'd been holding myself together with anger for so long, I'd forgotten what genuine compassion felt like. I met someone today, I said, focusing on a particularly stubborn dandelion. Someone who's been hurt by the same person who hurt me. She wants revenge. She wants to destroy them publicly. And you don't? I thought I did. I yanked the dandelion free, roots and all. Now I'm not so sure. Quentin was quiet for a moment. Can I tell you something? When my ex-wife left me for my best friend, I spent months planning ways to get back at them. I fantasized about exposing their affair to her conservative parents, about showing up at their housewarming party, about ruining their lives. Did you do it? No, because I realized something important. He met my eyes. Revenge requires you to keep carrying the pain, to keep reliving the betrayal. It chains you to the very people who hurt you. His words hit too close to home. So what did you do instead? I moved here, started over, found joy in small things. He gestured to the garden. It wasn't easy. Some days I still get angry, but I'm not defined by what they did anymore. I looked down at my dirt-covered hands. I don't know if I can let it go that easily. Who said anything about easy? He stood, offering me a hand up. But maybe there's a middle ground between destructive revenge and passive forgiveness. Something that lets you reclaim your power without becoming someone you don't recognize. As I took his hand, my phone buzzed with a text from Sabrina. Made contact with Regina. She has no idea who I am. Baby shower invitations going out next week. Are you in or out? The deadline loomed before me, forcing a decision I wasn't ready to make. But looking at Quentin's open, honest face, I knew I couldn't follow Sabrina down her path of destruction. I need to make a call, I said, brushing dirt from my jeans. Thanks for the perspective. Anytime, he replied. Some weeds are worth pulling. Others just make room for something better to grow. You did what? Amber's voice rose an octave, echoing through her small kitchen. I continued stirring the pasta sauce, refusing to meet her eyes. I sent Regina a congratulations card. For the baby. Why would you do that? I thought you were trying to move on. I am, I said, tasting the sauce. Needed more salt. But I also need closure. And a cryptic card provides that how exactly? I added salt, stirred again. It wasn't cryptic. It was strategic. I signed it, looking forward to celebrating with you, and included my new number. Amber stared at me like I'd grown a second head. You're planning to go to her baby shower? The event celebrating the child she's having with your ex-fiancé? Have you lost your mind? Maybe I had. The past week had been a blur of conflicting emotions. Rage giving way to grief, giving way to a strange, cold clarity. After my conversation with Quentin in the garden, I'd called Sabrina and told her I wasn't interested in her scorched earth approach. She'd been furious, threatening to move forward without me. But something told me her plan would fall apart without my involvement. I'm not going to make a scene, I assured Amber. I just need to see them together, to understand what happened. For my own peace of mind. Bullshit. Amber crossed her arms. You're still plotting something. I can see it in your eyes. I turned off the stove. Think what you want. But Regina texted me this morning. She wants to meet. And you agreed? I did. I poured the sauce over the pasta. Tomorrow at that cafe near the park. She says she has things to explain. Amber's expression softened. Are you sure you're ready for that? No, I wasn't sure. The thought of facing Regina made my stomach churn. But I'd spent 3 weeks hiding in Amber's apartment, working remotely and avoiding social media. It was time to confront reality. I need to hear what she has to say, I said simply, even if it's just more lies. Amber didn't look convinced, but she dropped the subject as we sat down to eat. The conversation shifted to safer topics. Her latest art commission, my work projects, Quentin's invitation for me to join the community garden committee. It wasn't until after dinner, as we washed dishes side by side, that Amber spoke again about Regina. Just promise me something, she said, handing me a plate to dry. Whatever you're planning, be careful. Not just of them, but of yourself. Revenge changes people, and rarely for the better. I took the plate, remembering Sabrina's bitter eyes, the hatred that seemed to consume her. I know. I promise I'm not turning into her. Into who? No one. I put the plate away. Just someone I met who's been down this road before. The cafe was crowded when I arrived, but I spotted Regina immediately. She sat in a corner booth, hands wrapped around a mug of tea, looking smaller than I remembered. Her pregnancy was visible now, a gentle curve beneath her sweater. She saw me approaching and straightened, her face a mixture of hope and fear. Layla, you came. I said I would. I slid into the booth across from her, maintaining as much distance as possible. You said you wanted to explain. Regina nodded, her fingers tightening around her mug. I do. But first I need to say I'm sorry. What I did was unforgivable. Then why do it? The question came out sharper than I intended. It's complicated. She looked down. Kate and I, it wasn't planned. It just happened. Things like that don't just happen, Regina. You make choices. I know. Her voice was barely audible. And I made terrible ones. I betrayed your trust in the worst possible way. I studied her face, searching for the friend I'd once loved like a sister. All I saw was a stranger wearing her features. How long? I asked. She hesitated. 8 months. 8 months. While I was planning our wedding, picking out flowers, writing vows, Cade had been sleeping with my best friend. The betrayal felt fresh all over again. A wound reopened. Did you love him? I wasn't sure why I needed to know, but I did. I thought I did. Regina's eyes filled with tears. But now I don't know. He's not who I thought he was. Something in her tone made me pause. What do you mean? She wiped her eyes. After you found out, when we finally got together officially, things changed. He became distant, secretive, always on his phone, always working late. I felt a bitter laugh bubble up. Let me guess. You think he's cheating on you. I know he is. She pulled out her phone, showing me a series of text messages. With someone named Sabrina. I found these last week. Seeing Sabrina's name on Regina's phone was surreal. The messages were explicit, leaving no doubt about their relationship. But what caught my attention was the timestamp. 2 days after my meeting with Sabrina, when she'd claimed Cade was trying to escape from Regina. How did you find these? I asked. I checked his phone while he was in the shower. Regina looked ashamed. I know it was wrong, but I had this feeling. And then I found so much more. Messages to other women, dating apps, even... She swallowed hard. Even messages about me saying the baby might not be his. Is it? The question slipped out before I could stop it. Of course it is. Her indignation seemed genuine. I've never been with anyone else. That's what makes his accusation so horrible. I sat back, processing this new information. If Regina was telling the truth, Cade had been manipulating all of us. Me, Regina, Sabrina, probably others I didn't even know about. Why are you telling me this? I asked finally. What do you want from me? Nothing. She reached across the table, then thought better of it and withdrew her hand. I just thought you deserved to know the truth, and... She hesitated. I got your card. About the baby shower. What about it? Did you mean it? About wanting to celebrate with me? The question hung between us, loaded with implications. This was my opening, the opportunity I'd been waiting for. But looking at Regina, pregnant, betrayed, vulnerable, I felt my carefully constructed plan wavering. I don't know, I answered honestly. Part of me wants to support you because we were friends for so long. Another part can't forget what you did. Regina nodded slowly. I understand. But if you did want to come, it would mean a lot to me. As I left the cafe, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. DNA test results confirm what we suspected. Baby isn't Cade's. I have proof. Meet me tonight if you want the full story. This changes everything. Brendan. I stared at the message, my heart racing. If the baby wasn't Cade's, whose was it? And why would Regina lie about something so fundamental? The answers were within reach. All I had to do was meet Brendan and get the proof. Then I could decide what to do with it. Expose them at the shower as originally planned, or find another way to use this information. Either way, there was no turning back now. The gardenia was transformed for Regina's baby shower. Soft pink and gold decorations, floral arrangements on every surface. A table piled high with wrapped gifts. Women in sundresses mingled, champagne flutes in hand, their laughter rising and falling like waves. I stood just inside the entrance, my heart hammering against my ribs, the envelope in my purse feeling impossibly heavy. You came. Regina appeared beside me, her face lighting up with genuine surprise. She wore a flowing dress that accentuated her pregnancy, making her look both vulnerable and radiant. I wasn't sure you would. I said I would. My voice sounded strange to my own ears, too calm for the storm raging inside me. Congratulations. She touched her stomach reflexively. Thank you. It means a lot that you're here. I nodded, unable to form words around the knot in my throat. 3 weeks had passed since our cafe meeting. 3 weeks of sleepless nights and endless debates with myself about what to do with the information Brendan had given me. Come meet everyone, Regina said, taking my elbow gently. Some of the girls from college are here. They've been asking about you. I let her guide me through the crowd, nodding at familiar faces, accepting hugs from women I'd once considered friends. They all seemed surprised to see me, their eyes darting between Regina and me with barely concealed curiosity. Is Cade here? I asked, scanning the room. Not yet. He had a work thing, but he promised to stop by. Regina's smile tightened slightly. You know how he is with schedules. I did know. It was one of the many things about him I'd overlooked, excused, rationalized away. His perpetual lateness, his vague explanations, his ability to make you feel like you were overreacting when you questioned him. Layla? A voice behind me made me turn. Marin stood there, champagne in hand, looking as shocked as if she'd seen a ghost. What are you doing here? I invited her. Regina answered before I could. We're working things out. Marin's eyes narrowed with suspicion. She pulled me aside as soon as Regina was distracted by another guest. What are you playing at? She hissed. Last time we talked, you were plotting revenge. Now you're at her baby shower like you're best friends again? I took a deep breath. Things have changed. Changed how? Before I could answer, a commotion at the door drew everyone's attention. Cade had arrived, all smiles and charm, carrying a bouquet of roses. He froze when he saw me, his confident facade cracking for just a moment before he recovered. Layla, he said, approaching cautiously. This is unexpected. Is it? I kept my voice light. Regina invited me. We've been talking. His eyes darted to Regina, who was watching us intently from across the room. Have you? About what? Old times. New beginnings. I smiled, the expression feeling foreign on my face. The baby. Something flickered in his eyes. Fear, maybe, or calculation. Right. The baby. Congratulations, by the way. I raised my voice slightly, ensuring nearby guests could hear. You must be so excited to become a father. He shifted uncomfortably. Yeah, it's a big change. The biggest. I sipped my water. I was just telling Regina how amazing it is that you're stepping up, taking responsibility. Not every man would. Cade's smile became strained. Well, you know me. Always doing the right thing. Do I know you, Cade? I'm not sure I ever did. Before he could respond, Regina called for everyone's attention. It was time for gifts. I watched as she settled into a decorated chair, Cade standing awkwardly beside her, his eyes constantly drifting to his phone. One by one, guests presented their offerings. Tiny clothes, handmade blankets, practical items for new parents. Each gift was met with appropriate oohs and ahs, Regina's gratitude seeming genuine despite the tension radiating from Cade. Finally, it was my turn. I approached them slowly, aware of every eye in the room on me. I wasn't sure what to get you, I said, handing Regina the envelope from my purse. But I think this is something you both need. Regina looked confused but opened it, pulling out the document inside. Her face paled as she read, her hands beginning to tremble. What is it? Cade asked, reaching for the paper. DNA results, Regina whispered, looking up at me with wide, frightened eyes. How did you get this? Does it matter? I kept my voice gentle. What matters is what it says. Cade snatched the paper, scanning it quickly. His expression hardened. This is bullshit. It's fake. It's not, I said calmly. I had it verified by 2 separate labs. The baby isn't yours, Cade. A collective gasp rippled through the room. Regina clutched her stomach protectively, tears streaming down her face. You're lying, Cade spat. She wouldn't cheat on me. The irony of his indignation almost made me laugh. Like you cheated on me? On her? On Sabrina? His face went slack at Sabrina's name. How do you know about Sabrina? I finished for him. We've met, compared notes. She's been quite helpful, actually. Regina stood shakily. Who's Sabrina? Ask him, I said. Ask him about all the women he's been seeing while you've been planning this baby shower. While you've been going to doctor's appointments alone. While you've been believing his lies. The room had gone completely silent, everyone frozen in place, witnessing the implosion of carefully constructed deceptions. Is it true? Regina asked Cade, her voice breaking. Have you been cheating on me too? His silence was answer enough. Regina turned to me, devastation written across her face. And the baby? She whispered. If it's not his, then whose? I took a deep breath. The moment I'd been planning for weeks finally here. But looking at Regina, broken, humiliated, surrounded by witnesses to her shame, I couldn't deliver the final blow I'd intended. That's between you and the father, I said quietly. I just thought you deserved to know the truth about Cade before you tied your life to his permanently. Regina nodded slowly, tears still falling. Thank you, she said, so softly I almost didn't hear it. Cade looked between us, realization dawning. You planned this, he accused me. You set this whole thing up to humiliate me. No, Cade, I replied, a strange calm settling over me. You did this to yourself. I just made sure everyone could see who you really are. As he stormed out, phone already pressed to his ear, I felt no triumph, no vindication, only a profound relief that I was no longer carrying the weight of his betrayal alone. Regina sank back into her chair, her friends rushing to surround her with comfort and questions. I stood apart, watching the scene unfold, feeling strangely disconnected from it all. Maren appeared at my side. That wasn't what I expected, she said quietly. Me neither. I turned to leave, my purpose here fulfilled. Layla, Regina called out, stopping me. Our eyes met across the room, hers full of tears, mine finally clear. Why didn't you tell them everything? About the baby's father? I smiled sadly. Because some truths aren't mine to tell. The sunrise painted Amber's garden in gold and pink, dew glistening on the plants we'd spent weeks nurturing. I knelt in the soft earth, transplanting seedlings from their small containers into the ground. The work was methodical, soothing. Press fingers into soil, create space, place roots gently, cover, water, repeat. I thought I'd find you out here, Quentin said, approaching with 2 steaming mugs. Coffee? I accepted gratefully, the warmth seeping through my dirt-stained gloves. Thanks. I couldn't sleep. Baby shower aftermath? He settled beside me, careful not to disturb the newly planted seedlings. Something like that. I hadn't told him everything about yesterday's confrontation, just that I'd attended Regina's shower and things had gotten intense. It didn't go exactly as planned. Your revenge, you mean? I looked up, surprised. How did you know? I didn't for sure, but I recognized the look in your eyes when you talked about them. He shrugged. I had that same look once. We sat in comfortable silence, watching the garden come alive with morning light. I'd been staying in Amber's guest room for nearly 2 months now, longer than I'd initially planned. Somehow, this small town had become a refuge, and Quentin, with his quiet understanding and gentle humor, had become a friend when I needed one most. Regina called me last night, I said finally, after everyone left. What did she want? To thank me, strangely enough. I traced the rim of my mug. She said I could have destroyed her completely, but I didn't. Quentin raised an eyebrow. Could you have? I nodded slowly. The DNA test wasn't the only information I had. I knew who the real father was, too. And you didn't reveal it. No. I remembered Regina's face when I'd handed her the envelope. The fear, the shame, the silent pleading in her eyes. It wouldn't have served any purpose except humiliation. She's going to have enough to deal with. That's surprisingly compassionate, considering everything. Maybe. I pulled off my gloves, examining the dirt embedded under my fingernails. Or maybe I just realized I didn't want to be the person who could do that to someone else, even if they deserved it. My phone buzzed with a text. Brendan asking if I'd gone through with the plan. I ignored it, just as I'd ignored Sabrina's angry messages after the shower. Their hunger for destruction no longer matched my own. What happens now? Quentin asked. I don't know. I set my empty mug on the ground. I've been hiding here, focusing all my energy on revenge. Now that it's over, I'm not sure what comes next. You could stay, he suggested, his voice carefully neutral. Amber mentioned you've been working remotely. You could do that from here permanently. The idea was tempting. This quiet life, this garden, this man with kind eyes who never pushed too hard. But something inside me resisted. I can't keep hiding, I said finally. I need to go back, face my life. That's not hiding, Quentin countered. That's running. Before I could respond, Amber appeared at the garden gate, her expression serious. Layla, someone's here to see you. My heart stuttered. Cade? No. Amber stepped aside, revealing Regina standing behind her, looking small and uncertain in the morning light. I stood, brushing soil from my knees. Regina, what are you doing here? I needed to talk to you. Her eyes were red-rimmed from crying, but her voice was steady. Properly talk, not just on the phone. Quentin squeezed my shoulder as he passed. I'll give you two some space. When we were alone, Regina approached cautiously, as if expecting me to send her away. I'm sorry for showing up like this. Amber gave me the address. It's fine. I gestured to the garden bench. Do you want to sit? She nodded gratefully, lowering herself onto the bench with one hand protectively over her stomach. We sat in awkward silence, the weight of our shared history hanging between us. Cade's gone, she said finally. He packed his things last night and left. No explanation, no goodbye. Just a text saying he needed space. I'm sorry. And surprisingly, I meant it. Don't be. You were right about him. She looked down at her hands. About everything, really. I just couldn't see it. Neither could I admitted. Not for a long time. Regina took a deep breath. There's something I need to tell you. Something I should have told you months ago. I tensed, preparing for another revelation, another betrayal. The baby's father, she began, then faltered. It's Marcus. The name hit me like a physical blow. Marcus? My brother? She nodded, tears spilling over. It happened after your engagement party. We were both drunk, both feeling, I don't know, left behind maybe? It was just once. Then I met Cade at that charity event, and he was so charming, so interested. Does Marcus know? My voice sounded distant to my own ears. No, we haven't spoken since that night. She wiped her eyes. I was too ashamed to tell him, too afraid of what you would think. The irony was almost too much. All this time, all this pain, all this plotting. And the truth was more complicated than I could have imagined. Are you going to tell him? I asked. I don't know. She looked at me directly for the first time. Should I? The question hung between us, loaded with implications. This wasn't just about Regina and Marcus anymore. It was about a child, my niece or nephew, who deserved to know their father. Yes, I said finally. He should know. And for what it's worth, Marcus has always wanted to be a father. Relief washed over her face. Thank you. For that. And for yesterday. You could have exposed everything, but you didn't. I almost did, I admitted. That was my plan all along. To humiliate you both publicly, to make you feel as betrayed as I felt. What changed? I looked around at the garden, at the tiny seedlings I'd just planted, at the life slowly taking root. I did. I realized revenge wouldn't undo what happened. It would just keep me trapped in that moment forever. Regina reached for my hand hesitantly. I let her take it, feeling the strange circle we'd traveled. From friends to enemies to something new I couldn't yet name. I don't expect forgiveness, she said quietly. I know what I did was unforgivable. Maybe. I squeezed her hand once before letting go. but maybe forgiveness isn't what matters most. Maybe it's finding a way forward that doesn't let the past define you. As she left, promising to call Marcus, I returned to my seedlings. The last one was struggling, its stem bent nearly to breaking. Carefully, I staked it upright, giving it the support it needed to grow toward the light. Quentin reappeared, watching me work. Everything okay? Not yet, I said, patting the soil around the fragile plant. But it will be. I stood, surveying the garden we'd created from nothing but dirt and hope. Some plants were thriving, others struggling, all of them reaching for something better than where they began. I think I'm ready to go home now, I said, feeling the truth of it settle in my bones. Not to run away or hide, just to start again. Need company for the drive? Quentin asked, his offer simple and undemanding. I smiled, really smiled, for what felt like the first time in months. I'd like that. The morning light strengthened around us, illuminating the path ahead. Not perfect or painless, but mine to choose, one step at a time.